All right, we're back again. Episode number, I don't even know at this point, but we're getting up there with a very special guest, close friend of ours, founder, CEO, connoisseur of everything outbound, Harris Kenny of OutboundSync.
How's it
Welcome,
going,
Harris.
guys? Great to be on the show. I love listening to it. The Vibov interview was super good. I've known Vibov for years, and I learned stuff in that interview like I had no idea about. So stoked to be chatting with you guys.
Well, you know what? It's long overdue. You belong here. You should be here. And you're a massive component, whether people know it or not, of everything that we do in our own business. And the world deserves to hear your story. It's a hell of a story.
Well, thanks. I mean, likewise. We're building in this space, but you guys are understories tying threads together that very few people are doing. Period. Whether it's an agency or even an internal team, like kind of these loose threads between paid and organic and sales team activities and things like that. So it's like we like to build. We like to build nice cars, and so when you're trying to build a nice car, it's nice to have nice drivers.
Yeah, for sure. Well, they don't work without each other. So
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, huge respect for you guys and the entire team at Understory. You've got a really deep bench. So yeah, it's a blast. So yeah,
we're
you
trying.
take the lead. I'm here for it.
All right, well, we're trying. But for those that don't know, Outbound Sync, I'll do my best to describe it, but then I want to hear you describe it yourself. But for us, it's basically the data connection that exists between sequencing tools like Instantly, Smart Lead, Email Bison, HeyReach now, which is huge, and a lot more to come that allows you to push the correspondence and the emails that you're sending or the messages that you're sending. On the HeyReach front, it could be connection requests, it could be liking posts, whatever activity is actually occurring, pushing that into your CRM, which at this time is Salesforce or HubSpot, and being able to actually view and see and build reports around all of that data.
Yeah, that's a really good summary. I mean, if I have to say it in like 3 words, that's what I say on calls sometimes is like we build pipes. We build pipes between these systems. We don't have a UI. We don't have our own workflow builder. We don't have our own report engine. Our application is very, very basic. Our engineers are back-end engineers. They write front-end code as little as possible. And you just described all those practical use cases. We consider ourselves a HubSpot or a Salesforce app. You interact with our data inside of the CRM. So when you're running paid media, you're doing content marketing, you've got, potentially SDRs or full cycle reps, and you want them in that CRM being system of record, system of action, both of those things. Yeah, that's kind of where we live. And yeah, and I know you guys are nerds, so the nerdier part of it is like really kind of grafting the data model. So these new outbound tools, they have like partial data models. They don't have like company objects and meeting objects and deal or opportunity objects like the CRMs do. So a big part of why what we do works is we take those more limited data models because they're the right size for the tools. But then we need to graft that data into what's a much more complicated system. But once it's over in this new place, we can do a lot more things with it, basically.
Yeah, I have no idea what the back end actually looks like. I just know that it makes our life easier, makes our clients' lives easier, and everyone's happier because of it. And now it's such an integral part of our stack. I think I told you this, but we've actually retained multiple customers because of Outbound Sync. Like they'll come to us and they'll say, hey, we have no way to attribute the outbound activity and any deal flow that's actually come from it other than direct response. Direct response is fine. We're getting a decent reply rate, but those deals, we haven't seen them close at the rate that we're looking for in order to justify the spend with Understory. And then we say, okay, well, do you mind if we take a look at your CRM and review all of the records in HubSpot to see what's actually happening? 9 times out of 10, and this has happened, I think, legitimately 3 times where we've retained clients because of this, we'll go in, they'll say, hey, here are all the deals that we have open right now. And I'll say, okay, where's the attribution source for all those deals? They'll open it up at the contact level. And they'll say, oh, looks like you guys did send them an email actually like a week before we opened the deal. And it's like, oh, that's really interesting. How did this one come in? They're like, oh, well, it's an inbound demo booking directly from our website. I'm like, oh, you think they just found you guys randomly? Like you just stumbled across your company and then booked the demo? And then they ask the people and they're always like, oh, yeah, we got an email from you. We never responded to it. We just went to your website and booked the demo directly.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's
I remember one of them. We did a little bit. This was like early on in our partnership, and we were still working on our documentation, so we were doing a lot of stuff manually. And you're like, hey, can you just like kind of jump in and help us think through this? And one of the deals was Porsche.
Yeah, exactly.
Little German automaker. So it was like, yeah, that's a pretty
$400,000 deal with that company, by the way. Yeah,
it's like that's a pretty cool logo.
Yeah,
I don't know what you guys are charging. I don't know if it's $400,000 a year. Maybe it should be, but
yeah.
So yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that like it's you're closer to this than most because you're running the paid ads function. But like, I think sales is becoming like marketing. You've got this programmatic outbound, and so attribution model needs to get a little bit more sophisticated. And it's just not the way naturally that a lot of people are thinking about it. Yeah, I mean, for sure. It's not just you. We've seen that with other users too. People just don't fully. Well, yeah, it's just new. It's just a new thing, and so you need smart people to help
You're
you
literally
think about
pioneering
it.
it. Yeah, you're literally pioneering it. It's totally different because I mean, I don't want to call them the dinosaur tools because then it's going to make us sound really old, even though maybe we are. I don't know. But like even like Outreach, Sales Loft, some of those tools that seem like dinosaurs at this point, they're really not that old at all. Those companies have always had integrations, but they were never at the same level of granularity. And you've got the newer tools like Smartly, Instantly, Email Bison that are built for deliverability. They're not built for that level of granularity at the attribution level. And so when you run into that issue, what you also run into is the fact that these agencies that are operating on those can never clearly attribute the work that they're actually doing. And that's a problem. That's a problem for the agency. That's a problem for the people that are hiring the agencies whose jobs are on the line because they're allocating that budget that they were given by their CEO or something like that for their marketing spend with no clear idea on what's actually happening. Is there measurable ROI? It's like you're really solving a problem that's brand new because of all these different tools have adopted to be deliverability led versus
Totally.
integration led. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and the nice thing about these founders of these kind of like next generation of tools is, like data's supposed to be free, right? So they build webhooks, they build APIs, they have them at all. Then they're pretty performant and they're pretty well documented. And like we're looking at integrating with some of the bigger players, I'll just say, like on the dialer side and stuff, and they don't do it. They don't make the data available. So we're going to have to do all sorts of weird reverse ETL stuff to get the data from other places and then repackage it and then resync it back in. So, it makes you really appreciate what some of these folks that we work with, like Trigify, another guest that you guys had on the show, Max is the man. The fact that these companies, the way they build their products is like, hey, it's your data. We want you to be able to use it. We're not threatened by the fact that you might take this data and use it in other places for other things to trigger workflows or trigger clay tables or whatever. And so that just like makes things way, 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 way easier. So as we're kind of moving up market and we're getting requests to tie in with some of those bigger tools, I'm really having like a newfound appreciation for the engineers who we've been collaborating with over the last 2.5 years, because now I sort of see what's coming and it's like, oh, this is going to be so much harder. So yeah, like it's a confluence of a lot of things. I think that's making kind of this moment possible for sure, but it's exciting.
I want to talk to you about something that's really interesting to me, a topic that's really interesting about how a lot of software founders we've talked to came from an agency that they started. They found some sort of problem that they built a solution for their agency, for their client, and found out that that was way more valuable than the actual service they were providing. So I know that's similar to the story that you had, and I would love to go down that path and just learn a little bit more about your background, how you got into starting OutboundSync, and what the agency was like.
Yeah, totally. Well, that's for sure my story. So, I mean, I had been, well, I mean, just to go back a little bit before I even started the agency, I had worked in kind of like sales and marketing type roles for first 9-10 years of my career, and just had a bunch of bosses that I wasn't, I had a.
you weren't thrilled about.
Not thrilled.
Yeah.
Wouldn't recommend. I also worked with a lot of great people, but I just had this feeling of like, I got to try it. I got to go out on my own. I just got to try this thing. And so, an agency or consultant, I started like a consultancy. It turned into an agency. At the time, like I was doing like go-to-market stuff. My background was I'd done a lot of hardware. So I'd worked with a lot of hardware companies, and then kind of evolved into everybody was just asking me for leads. So that's how we kind of got into sending cold email. And we started with Close, and then we moved to Lemlist, and then we moved to Smart Lead. And then I was one of the first Clay experts. I did a case study with Mishti in like I don't know if it was 2022 or 2023, but it was a long time ago. And like, we cited how much money we were saving when we switched from ZoomInfo to Clay. It was like really early. But, I'll tell you where you guys have succeeded and where I was failing with my agency is, you have to have this layer below the founder level of like really, really strong operational people. Now, I had great people on my team who I loved working with, but I wasn't able to find somebody to take enough ownership of things that I could free up the ability to work on other stuff. So my agency, like, I liked it. Initially, it was Kenny Consulting Group, became Intro CRM. We were a tiered HubSpot partner. We were a Smart Lead partner, whatever. Like, we had some great clients. It was working for me. I was accomplishing my financial goals in life, and the company was growing. But it wasn't like a runaway success. And I had tried a couple SaaS ideas. The like OGs that I really looked up to were David Heinemeier Hansen and Jason Fried from Basecamp, because they had a design agency, and this was like 20 years ago or something like that, but they had started Basecamp as a project management tool for their design clients. And Jason found David somewhere like online. That was like a listserv or what, but I'm pretty sure David had still been in Denmark at the time, and he brought him out to Chicago, and they back when it was 37 Signals. So I had this idea in the back of my head of like, have a service agency, solve problems, maybe identify a SaaS. And then OutboundSync came around, and like very quickly, I was having much better calls, much more interesting prospects coming in, like mid-market companies with hundreds or thousands of employees asking me about SOC 2. And it's like, I don't know. I do know now, but at the time I was like, I don't know.
You are SOC 2 compliant now. You paid the price, but you get it done.
Yeah, we paid the price. Yeah, we're SOC 2, Type 2. We got Vanta. We got an auditor. We did the whole thing. So, basically it was like the business was going well, but wasn't like thriving. I think because of my inability to like make good management decisions on the operations side. I think I was doing the right things in terms of tech stack, and I was asking good questions, and I had some cool clients, and we had some good outcomes, but I wasn't able to scale myself, I think. And so it felt like it was underperforming. And then this other thing started to like, whoa, there's really interesting interest here. And I felt like I had a vision for it, and I felt like the timing was right. And I just got a little lucky too, that my bet was that it would move, this way of going to market, this growth hacking way would move up market, and that the tools that could build these integrations wouldn't. And so if those two things were true, then there would be room for OutboundSync to be a company. And both those things turned out to be true so far.
To be honest with you, I think that's an underrated skill that you have, though, more than most other people I've ever met in my life. But it's vision. To think that this group of, let's just call them pirates, for lack of a better term, right, in these WhatsApp communities who are building these extreme growth hacky things, we're all part of it, right? It's like we're all part of that group of pirates. Doing things in ways that maybe aren't SOC 2 compliant originally, or doing things in ways that would be frowned upon in larger organizations, right? Like scraping data, things like that, like all those different things that are frowned upon. You saw that group of people would be able to make their way up market because, frankly, we just deliver better results than other agencies or other solutions, right? Like we actually make people money. And when people make you money, that tends to spread like a wildfire. You go up market, you have more success, blah, blah, blah. You saw that happen. That's vision. That's a skill. That's not something that just randomly occurred. You saw it. But I'm also curious how you had that vision early, and then also how important the community of GTM Pirates was for you to scale OutboundSync at the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, well, the thing that really, I think early on it was getting a couple of big prospects in where it really caught my attention, but also just seeing the exceptional results. Like, I mean, I think your point is spot on. It's like if someone's making you money, you're going to figure out a way to get them into your org. And if you're a growth hacker, that includes figuring out how to like growth hack your way into serving those customers. Maybe they require a certain level of insurance, or maybe they require a certain type of contract, and you got to hire a lawyer to make sure you meet the terms or whatever. But the results were just so outstanding that it just felt like there was an inevitability that, and the alternative was so bad. I mean, the results were so bad. It was such a black box. The spend was so high that you saw these companies being like, let's just take a flyer on this. I mean, God, why not? We're spending like multiple seven figures on this sales org and all the tooling. Like, let's just take a shot. Let's just spend 25, 50K on this thing for a few months and just see what happens, And so I think that was like, that was the thing. And, I think that I had an early client who asked for it. We had been a HubSpot partner. I had been to Inbound. I had seen how bad so many integrations were that I just felt like, oh yeah, people kind of overlook this. And there's just things that it would be nice if I could do these things in HubSpot and then, and then later in Salesforce. I still think we're ahead of the market. I mean, I say this to your team, like we look to Understory's team to give us feedback. And I believe that the features we build for Understory are going to be features that people are asking for in 2 to 5 years. Like in other parts of the market. I mean, that is like a literal fact. I've been building this thing for 2.5 years. I have prospects coming in. They ask me about features that I literally built 2.5 years ago. And when they get on the call, they say like, is this possible at all? I'm like, yeah, totally. We built it.
Yeah.
And it's not because like I'm so smart or whatever. There's just adoption curves.
Well, I
Like it
also
takes
think
time for this stuff to like get picked up.
yeah, and I also think something that you've done exceptionally well, and we were talking about it before we started recording. You take user feedback and you implement it nearly immediately as long as it makes sense. But it feels like you filter out the bullshit, for lack of better terms. You focus on what you're hearing maybe repetitively, or the things that you're hearing from larger organizations that could spend more money and that they're actually facing problems that these people are actually facing. And you guys really implement them. And I mean, one thing you've done incredibly well too is now you even kind of have a little community in Slack, right? With like the Hey Reach integration
Mm-hmm.
channel. And it's like you're taking user feedback directly from there and you're giving out basically the product in beta and saying, figure out what's wrong, tell me what's wrong, and you guys fix it immediately. It's like I've seen that with a handful of founders. I think other founders have done that really well. The guys at Instantly have done that really well. The Smart Lead by Bob, he's done that really well. Fibbler, which is another guy we had on this podcast, he's done it extremely well. HeyReach, like all of these companies that are thriving and doing really well within the GTM community are listening to the users. They're identifying the problems. They're identifying trends, repetitive things that are being said over and over again, and their engineers are getting to work and actually fixing those problems.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we try really hard. I wear the product hat. I'm a non-technical founder. So I'm kind of in charge of product basically. And I work with our engineers to try to bring that stuff to life. I mean, if I had to say like, I never really got the like mission, vision, values thing of like, what are the differences between these and that whole like corporate thing. But if I had to say like, it's like, I still right now couldn't tell you, even though I like went to business school, I still couldn't tell you like, well, what's the vision supposed to be and what's mission supposed to be. But like, if we had like a rallying cry in my mind, it's helping winners win. Like we're not building a product for everybody. I think we're trying to build an essential tool for the most elite operators in this space. And so like I don't see outbound agencies or even these internal GTM teams as like a stepping stone that we'll like move on from, but I see it instead as like if you think about it, like we're exploring space. And so it's like I want to build gear for the astronauts and with the astronauts kind of thing, because like there's always another galaxy or there's always another planet. I mean, I guess it depends on what your opinion is about the cosmos, but let's just assume for a second that you believe in, all this stuff. There's always another planet. There's always another place to go. Yeah. and then the astronauts will come, and so that's the way I think about it versus like exploring Earth where it's like a fixed surface area. And then you kind of like, you settle the area and you just kind of like build up in one place. That's not how I think about it. So we take user feedback seriously because I kind of feel like the people that we serve, they're kind of like time travelers or something. I mean, they're the ones who are telling us what's going to be needed.
Yeah.
So that's why we do that. I think it's securing our future. I think when we build those features now, we're paving runway and lead generation in 12 to 48 months kind of thing. Like I really, really, really think about it that way, which is why I get kind of crazy sometimes about like, okay, tell me more about that. Why? And then I'll copy and paste. I'll put those whole conversations into Trello, into a ticket for engineering, and I'll record a Loom, and I'll be like, okay, this is what the user's trying to do. This is why. This is like the end state. And so, it's like, okay, they're trying to attribute, they're trying to connect these dots, or they want to go from here to a dialer. Like that totally is a thing we should enable them to do. Let's build that. So that's kind of how I think about that
it's
stuff.
Still you manually vetting all those feature requests and submitting them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Every single thing. I don't use AI to review that stuff at all.
Yeah, I feel like in past conversations, like nobody really has a super formalized way in the early stages of like collecting that feedback. But I think it's so important for you as the founder to be involved with those conversations because you're, navigating the ship at the end of the day.
Yeah, totally. For sure. We've had to say no to a lot of stuff. People ask for integrations with other CRMs. They ask for some certain features where I'm always like, I get what you're asking for, but we just can't do that right now. Yeah. And so you kind of have to be confident being like, okay, I hope I'm right about this.
Honestly, I think you've done a way better job than you even give yourself credit for on focusing on the things that are actually going to deliver value immediately.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, when you see people using stuff, that's great. I think our like engineering to revenue loop is pretty damn tight. Like I don't think our engineers have ever written a line of code that's not contributed to revenue. Like we don't have dead features in the product. We don't have that many features, but when we ship stuff, there's money. People are like pretty quickly like, "Yep, I want to pay for that. That's important to me." Which is good. Maybe I'm sure that'll change as we get bigger, but
yeah. And I mean, given that you built like the beta of the product in Make and ChatGPT,
it's
bad. Like, well, I mean, it's kind of bad, but it's like you were pretty clearly able to diagnose the issue and solve the issue that you were facing with your own agency to build it. So it's like, how much is the product I mean, I'm sure a lot, but like how much has it evolved since those days to be not only just solve the same need that it initially did, but just do it in a better way?
Well, so it's funny because it's changed in a lot of ways, but it's also not changed a lot. Um, so if you think about like what we're doing, we're taking data from one source, like sequencers. We're running it through pipes, and then we're delivering it to a CRM. So like on paper, like that's what we're doing. It's still what we're doing. But where our engineers, like, because we've spent thousands of engineering hours on this, and like I will sometimes have a good call with someone and they're like, we're just going to build this in Zapier or whatever. I'm like, honestly, no problem. No worries. If you're running any problems, let me know. There are so many things in that like basic assumption of I'm going to get a webhook payload, I'm going to receive it, and then I'm going to log an API call. There's so many things that can go wrong there. Sometimes the platforms send the webhook payloads like too quickly, and so it breaks. So you have to have the ability to like rapidly scale your ability to receive payloads at different times of day. Sometimes the payloads are too big. So on the receiving end, like you try to forward that payload into like a clay or something like that, and it's too big because it's like 15 megabytes. Because this is like a real thing. Somebody was sending this terrible graphic design of a golf tournament, and it was like 15 megs, including the image. And so the payload, so it was breaking. So it wasn't delivering. So you've got like payload size, you've got payload speed. Then you've got like rate limits on the other side. And then what if the documentation is wrong? What if they actually don't always include an ID with their payloads? That's a real problem, actually. So there's just all of these things that you like assume. So we're fundamentally doing the same thing. We're just doing it better, more comprehensively, accounting for more edge cases to try to have like, and we're doing it in like in a better and better, more secure way. But like the fundamental thing that we're doing is what we were doing before. We add a new channel that's meaningful. We have to map it to new activity types, but like it's still an activity. It's a social activity instead of email, but like it's still an activity. So yeah, it's changed a lot, and it hasn't changed. And the pain that was identified there was absolutely because of serving clients. I think that like agencies do such a good job. It's a core part of our go-to-market. Like we're like riding with the agencies, and it's like we're gonna live or die together. Like we haven't invested in building out our own direct go-to-market engine. I mean, I had a call with you a few months ago, both of you guys, or Ali, where I was like, hey man, like I might want to kind of drive some direct revenue. I might want to run some ads. Like we're not running any ads. I don't know how to run ads. We don't have any direct motion. We ended up not needing to kind of try to turn that on, but it's like we're going to market with agencies, with experts, and it's like if we can't figure that out, this party's over real fast. So I believe in agencies and the value they do, and like to the point where like all my chips are in on that. Like it's not marketing. So I believe what I learned back then, and I believe that now what people learn is important. So that's why we try to listen to it.
Yeah, I might be biased, but I feel like if you're building a sales tech or any sort of marketing or some sort of tool in this day and age, like you have to have some sort of agency partnership motion as part of the scaling plan. That was actually going to be something I wanted to ask about, Harris. Like, so you're focused on the agency motion. What does that look like specifically, like in terms of partnerships? Like, how are you organizing that?
Yeah, for sure. Well, we try to make it easy. So we're in Slack with our agencies. We try to not put too much like burden in terms of process on them. We try to go out of our way to help support them with the idea that we're investing in a relationship, and that over time, the right agencies will develop SOPs, and that we won't have to like go deep over and over again. And that is true. Understory is a perfect example of that. So we do like, we'll be responsive. I'll check messages very early in the morning, very late at night, because I know sometimes folks have people just working in different time zones, and I try to like meet them where they're at in terms of when they're available to work on behalf of clients. And like if something is a client's problem, we try to treat it like it's our problem. Like we don't measure our like number of tickets or ticket response time. We've never throttled someone's like access to our team. We just try to like, so that I think is where my like kind of background and thinking about like client services informs how we do support on the agency side.
How much do you think of that you got experience from running your own agency? Because an agency is, it's a very personal, very personal business model, right? It's like you're constantly talking to clients, and customer service is so critical.
Yeah, for sure. And like part of that's respect. Like, if an agency owner, delegates someone on their team to be responsible for onboarding and they've never done it before, we see it as like, okay, our job is to help this person be successful. Like we're never going to like run it up the flagpole and be like, hey, Alex, like what's going on with this or whatever. Like we know that you are trusting them. I mean, if there's repeated problems, we may just give you some feedback of like, hey, it seems like this person's having a hard time picking this up. Like just so you're aware, like this is taking a little longer than we thought. But like we try to not create friction internally. It's like if this is the way that you want to run it, we want to support you running it that way. And like sometimes that means we spend a lot more time on something than we like quote unquote should. But it's like to me that's the right thing to do and to help you guys grow.
Yeah.
So I guess along those lines, just in terms of like actual marketing initiatives that you're doing with agencies, last week with everything in Sculpt and all of that, was that a big bet for you guys? Like the whole laser tag event and all of that, which was amazing.
So I spent a lot of time on it. Personally spent a lot of time managing that. So you guys were there. You guys were like literally one of the first like couple people.
Awesome. It was a great time.
You were like one of the first couple people I messaged about it to be like, hey, like if we did this, would this be fun? And you were like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I'll be there. No problem.
Yeah. So we did this big laser tag event and we invited a bunch of agencies to attend. And I think like where my like little founder advantage is having run one of those, like I know that everybody respects each other. The really elite people, they know each other, they're in the same groups together, they respect each other. And so the chance to just get in the room and, talk, share notes, and then also just like compete and have fun, that people would welcome that. So it actually wasn't we brought some sponsors on. So financially it wasn't very expensive, but it took up a lot of my like headspace. I like was sweating the details to an unreasonable amount. It's like I was planning a wedding.
Plenty of food though. Don't worry. There's plenty of pizza, plenty of wings.
Oh, an ungodly. I way over ordered the food.
I had 6 slices of pizza. I told you I was going to do that too. 6 slices.
Well, you did your part.
Yeah. I didn't want you to waste any food. I didn't want anything going to waste. So
there was a lot of people that did not walk the walk on that. And I definitely took notes. And there will be some people who are uninvited next year. So I felt like laser tag was kind of more of a celebration of like we hit profitability. These people, these agencies are part of that success. Let's just kind of do something fun together. Not like from an ROI perspective. It was just like, hey, like we've kind of earned like let's just have some fun and have our own little side thing before Sculpt kicks off. So when I think about growth, like what we're investing in when it comes to agency success, it really is like customer success. It's new feature development. It's the packages like in HubSpot, helping build out packages so you can quickly deploy and then do that attribution work. So we're pretty like product and support focused right now when it comes to growth. I think that like the agencies we work with are so good and they're so motivated to grow their business. If we can just help bring this piece to them, like they'll take care of the rest. And that has totally been what has happened. So yeah, I think that there's like a whole other level of growth that we will achieve as we're able to start investing in our own like more direct go-to-market stuff, co-marketing, which we're like barely doing right now. Like we're not doing any SEO, we're not doing any paid ads, we're barely doing any content. So I'm very excited for that stage of the business. Because I see how well it works. I mean, I work with all of you. I'm watching all these meetings that you're printing, and I'm like, I really want to be able to run these plays because I know it works. I'm not one of these people like Outbound is dead or whatever. So yeah.
You figured out the product first with agencies who, I mean, it's very much survival of the fittest with us. Like, we're not going to keep using a tool that doesn't work.
No. Agencies are brutal. That's the thing people don't understand. Brutal. Like if it doesn't work, like you're out. You're like, dude, this client's paying me $10,000 a month. You have any idea how little time I'm going to spend troubleshooting this thing? Like they're way too important. Like if you can't figure this out, I'm out.
And working with agencies is also a world of extremes, right? It's like you either get the best word of mouth or the worst word of mouth. And agencies, when you put them together, it's a freaking army. Like you think about all the people in those WhatsApp groups, right? Every single one of them is posting on LinkedIn near daily, all right? Mm-hmm. And they're also, whether it's for reach, whether it's for informational purposes, whatever it is, they're shouting out the tools that they actually use in their stack. It's like you think about, I mean, Smartlead, they run some Facebook ads, but other than that, that company has gone from 0 to, I'd venture to say close to $40-50 million a year in revenue. I don't know, Vaibhav won't actually tell me, but it's somewhere in that range, almost primarily just from word of mouth. And now we have calls with some of the biggest companies in the world, publicly traded companies, Fortune 50, Fortune 100 companies, that are saying, should we use Smartlead or Instantly? It's like the fact that these tools have made it into the mainstream like that, just from word of mouth, just shows that when you put all these agencies together, you really create an army, and that army has so much reach. cumulatively.
Oh yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I think people underestimate that at their peril.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
the
how
funny
Clay is
thing.
grown. Clay literally used that playbook.
No, for sure. Well, the funny thing is that you hear a lot of advice against it. So I think that our bet on agencies is actually one of the most like heterodox things that we're doing as a company. When I've been considering, we've ultimately didn't really need it, but we had been considering like, oh, do we raise money or not? We did a pre-seed round, basically to give me the cash to. Yeah, we can talk about that. But just to kind of close loop on this, then we can go back to that or whatever you guys want to talk about. But I talked to multiple people and they were like, yeah, agencies don't scale. So, if you're going to go raise money, you're going to need to do that. You're going to need to grow a different way. You're going to need to have a whole case about how you're going to grow and deploy that capital without agencies because they don't scale. Like multiple people immediately told me that. And it's funny because I was like, well, you don't know respectfully, like you don't know my numbers. This is the part of our business that is scaling. Actually. So what are you talking about? Like, I don't know what book you read or whatever, but like I see, yeah, like, I see our Stripe account, I see our bank account, I see Slack, I see what's going on. So, it was actually like multiple people actively were like, well, you're going to have to stop doing that basically. If you want to make this fund decision. And I was like, well, wouldn't an investor like want their money back? Like, cause this is how we're growing. So and so it wasn't, and then I've seen some other SaaS founders be like, hey man, okay, it seems like agency is working. Like I'm going to offer an agency plan. And then they offer an agency plan and they're like, oh my gosh, like I just had a call with this, whatever. And they want to bring over 50 clients. Like I can't handle that. Like I need to like put a caveat on like this agency plan I just developed. I'm like, well, yeah, dude, like they move fast and their expectations are very high. Like they can be very demanding, but if you perform, you will be rewarded accordingly and you will be kind of part of their success story. So I've heard like from SaaS founders and from investor types of like, kind of like watch out basically, like there's dragons over there and I don't regret anything about what we're doing, but I understand why that is like maybe
well, it's also kind of short-sighted. I think it's short-sighted because agencies, I get what they're saying. A lot of agencies don't scale, right? There are a lot of agencies that do get stagnant at some number. And then there's agencies like ours and some of the other big ones that you're working with that have just constantly been growing. But I'll tell you what does happen with agencies, especially today, is whether they scale or not, more of them pop up.
Mm-hmm.
So there's more and more agencies. So if they're scaling horizontally or vertically, I guess it's kind of irrelevant as long as they're scaling in general as a whole. But also that's total bullshit because I think about our spend with you. It's gone almost between 15 and 20x what it initially was over the last 12 months, So it's like to say they don't scale is just kind of nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, well, because it's like if you think of like sales as becoming marketing, it's like look at the like proliferation of marketing agencies that are out there. Doing a whole range of marketing services. So it's like if we think that sales is essentially like underserved in terms of services providers, like who do you have? You have coaches, you've got like people who talk at sales kickoffs, you've got like some CRM consultant type folks, but like now you've got this more like service delivery vehicle that's tied to revenue. It's like a totally different thing. So yeah, but I just like all I care about is the numbers. We build features that book meetings, and we build that's that's you guys. So here we are. Like maybe in some theoretical argument, it's not a good idea, but I just like read the tape, just look at the meetings coming through, and I'm like, that's who we want to build for, even if it's harder, because someone who just wants to buy an annual deal or whatever, and they've got 20 reps. So I go, well, who cares? What are the 20 reps doing?
Yeah.
What are the 100 reps doing?
Yeah, totally.
Or is the company just burning through a ton of money they raised when interest rates were cheap? It's like, so to me, there's a lot of red herrings out there.
So let's talk about raising money. You raised a very, very small round from Tiny Seed. I only know what Tiny Seed is, frankly, because you and I are friends. And after you told me about that, I read about them. But tell us a little bit more about Tiny Seed. Tell us about how you got your start working with them, how beneficial they've been to you, and whether or not you'd recommend people raise in a situation like you.
Yeah, for sure. Tiny Seed's awesome. So I've been listening to the founder, Rob Walling. He really successful entrepreneur. He built and sold multiple companies. Started this idea of like, hey, let's give like just enough capital basically to ambitious founders who want to grow business but don't want to build a unicorn.
And they don't want to be predatory.
Right. And not be a predatory lender either, right? And I'd been listening to Rob's podcast for years. Felt like this idea was getting traction about OutboundSync. And what was different than my past ideas is that people just wanted the software. I'd had past ideas where it was coupled with services, which is fine. It's a fine way to make money, but they were really buying the service. They weren't really buying the SaaS. So felt like we've got a SaaS here, applied. It's public, so whatever. It was 180K pre-seed round. And it was basically enough to give me just enough cash to invest in things like SOC 2, bring our engineer on full time, hire CSM, and then just kind of try to grow this thing as fast as I could to kind of connect with that runway not running out. And I don't think I'd be here without it. I mean, if I was, it would have been a lot harder, because running both at the same time was really tough as a solo founder. Great program, great mentorship that comes with it. They've had some huge wins from some of their portfolio companies over the years. Like Scraping Bee just had a huge exit. So, I mean,
define huge for the audience. Like,
well, the founders, I don't know that the number wasn't public, but the founders never have to work again. So like, I mean, so that means that I don't know exactly what they pocketed, but usually the number people will reference is like at least 10 million, in take home
and
pay.
let's be honest. I think we live in this world where everyone sees these $1 billion exits and they're like, that's what I need. Any grown adult knows you don't need $1 billion to live a fantastic life. If you walk away with $10 million at any point in life, let me clarify that, at any point in life, you're going to be in a great place. But if you walk around with $10 million and you exit before the age of 40 with that much money, you are set for life. You throw that into the S&P 500, you throw it wherever you want. You don't ever need to work again at that point, right? And
Totally.
I think most people are just chasing these gigantic numbers. And by the way, to anyone listening to this, people will buy your $1 million company if it has the right unit economics, if it's set up the right way, for 10 million plus. It happens all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way I thought about it is like, what's the probability of success? And I felt like if I could build a company, that I would have better odds of success than like shooting for the moon, basically. And yeah, I mean, our numbers are great. Our net retained revenue is like
already profitable.
Yeah, we're profitable. Last month, our NRR was 147%. I mean, you guys, we expansion with revenue with you, you know that.
Yeah.
Our churn was like 0.8% last month. Our net MRR grows up by at least 10% every single month. So the business is just absolutely cooking, and we have awesome customers that are not slowing down. So I think that we're building something great. I think there's a big shift happening in the market. You, and others are benefiting from that. So hopefully we stay on the right side of that wave. But Tiny Seed totally put us in a position to succeed. I think one of the important things was I shut down my agency, so I could work with agencies and not be competing with them. So that, I never had these weird conversations where it's like, hey, your success is my success.
About that too. Like when we first met, I think you were still in the process of shutting down Intro CRM when we first met, and you were going in on all in on OutboundSync. But you were like, you and I had a long conversation about it. I don't even know if you remember. We talked on the phone about it, and you were telling me, you were like, you were literally just telling me, you were like, I got to a number where I was doing pretty well financially with my agency, but I just wasn't loving life. It wasn't for me. And then I found this problem. I pivoted, and the second I pivoted, it just started to take off immediately.
Definitely. The power of going all in, for sure. Yeah. It was also a tough couple of years personally. There was a lot going on.
Yeah. You can talk about it if you want. We don't have to talk about that also.
Yeah, but there's a whole lot. Yeah, there's a whole lot.
Yeah. But something that I think is also really important, because I feel like our audience is a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs, sometimes our clients, sometimes prospects, things like that. But I think a lot of people don't understand to build a successful business, and Ollie and I are 100% living proof of this. You cannot have a legitimate side hustle. If you're like a landlord on the side or something like that, and you like real estate, that's your thing. Not my thing, but if that's your thing, sure, that's more passive. Nothing that's actually going to make you real money or be really worthwhile is actually passive. You have to go all in. You've got to work your ass off. You've got to put all your eggs in one basket and just lock the fuck in to get it done.
Oh, I completely agree. Yeah, I mean, it's power law. You're going to have these uneven distribution of outcomes. If you whatever the thing is that's working, you've got to go all in on it. I saw this great quote, but it's like, who has a plan B? People that lose.
Yeah, exactly. I love that.
So you got a plan A. This is it. We're going to figure it out. It's like, and if you put yourself in the water and if you don't swim, you drown. You figure out how to swim pretty quickly. And I think that,
or you die, but yeah,
or you die. I mean, or the business dies and you start over, and that's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay. Failure's okay. I mean, I had like arguably 6 kind of versions of businesses before OutboundSync took off. This is arguably the 7th kind of business version of a business that I was running. It's okay to fail.
And that's a textbook entrepreneur right there.
Yeah. Yeah. If the 7th one works,
like failure. Because those weren't failures at the end of the day, Harris.
That's true.
They might have closed them down, but the learning experience is the most important part of it.
Oh, for sure. Wouldn't have been here without it, for sure.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been here.
So what's your master plan A for OutboundSync? Like what's your goal?
Yeah.
Is it going to become a family business? Or are you going to sell it? Like, what do you want to do with OutboundSync?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, so we're at this point, we don't have any plans to raise money. I don't think we need to. Probably not going to be a family business. Hey, you never know. Every founder of I do have two. And who knows? Maybe not done. Who knows?
We'll see.
We'll see. Every founder eventually is going to leave their company at some point. I think that it's just a question of when and how. I can see a lot of different paths for this. I'm not interested in a quick exit for this company. I've been working on it for 2.5 years, and the amount of opportunity I see in front of us is pretty nuts. I had a call yesterday with, actually, I don't know, like, it's a mid-market company. They've got 100 sales reps. They described to me they have 7 different SaaS products they're paying for that have sequencing like capability.
Classic.
7 and multiple data providers. It's a complete mess. They don't like it. They're stressed about it. They want to start consolidating, and they really want Salesforce to be the system of truth or system of record for them. And they're a big company with a lot of spend. And so like I look at the problems we're solving and the way that we're solving them, and I think there's a lot of room for us to keep growing. And that's just if we stay within this horizontal layer of this, like these very specific sales tech tools. I looked at support tools. All those integrations stink too. I looked at SendGrid's integration with HubSpot. Totally stinks. Like not good at all. Like from a HubSpot RevOps person's perspective, I can't do the stuff I want to do in HubSpot. And SendGrid's part of Twilio. It's a huge, super successful company. Great product, but the HubSpot integration isn't good. So to me, there's like multiple categories that the way we're solving this problem. So in short, like what's the plan? It's going to be keep growing, keep reinvesting in the business. There's potentially multiple exit paths, but if something were to emerge, I think this has room to become potentially a much bigger company. And so I would want any transaction to have like a runway for that. And there's certain buyers that are interested in that, you know, where you get a second bite at the apple. They want to invest capital, you stay on, you keep building and growing it. Like that kind of outcome is really interesting to me versus like, well, you know, you got a strategic acquisition. They're going to basically shutter your product and then fold some features into some bigger SaaS. And then, you know, you end up as a VP there for 5 years or whatever. That's like not enticing to me. At this point, based on the information I have, I think there's a lot of room. And I think you guys see it too. Like, I mean, how big is the market right now in terms of opportunity for, so yeah. So that's kind of my mindset right now. It's like early days, we're building, we're reinvesting. And I think that the like fundamentals of how we're solving this problem but it's one day at a time. It's one little problem at a time. But it's definitely not the kind of thing where I'm like, okay, let's get out of here. Let's get a quick check or whatever. Because I think I would be super regretful if I did that.
Yeah, it's short-sighted. It's unnecessary. Plus, there's also a huge component to just loving what you do.
Yeah, we're having fun, and I mean, seeing you guys in SF, and then the breakfast you hosted the next day was exceptional. Food was great. And I don't know if you want to mention it, but your client that hosted the event was awesome. It's like, this is great. I mean, I feel like I'm working with total buds, people who I'd do anything for and who I know feel the same way about me. It's totally reciprocal. So it's like, yeah, what else am I going to do right now? Honestly, you know?
That's how I feel too.
Yeah.
Honestly, we live in
the team right now.
So we're 4 right now. We got 2 full-time engineers. Yeah, we're lean. 2 full-time engineers, CSM and me.
Ethan. We love Ethan.
Ethan's the man. He does a great job.
It was great to meet him in person too. He's just such a good guy. He just like walks around completely unassuming, and it's like this guy is a machine on Slack.
He just really likes helping people. Like he's awesome. He really takes customers like well-being like so seriously. You know, like he does a good job representing the voice of the customer. We had a call with engineering, and he does a really good job being like, hey, users having this problem. We need to prioritize it. Like, you know, it's never confrontational, but he like holds his ground for someone who's so unassuming. He has like backbone, and he's like, listen, I was on the phone with them for 20 minutes. Like, this is not okay. Like, we got to fix this. So he has really grown, and sometimes like surprises me in moments where I'm like, oh yeah, damn, he's right. We got to fix that. You know,
that's awesome.
Yeah. He does a great job.
That's what you need. You need people that are and actually move the business forward. It's the most important thing.
For sure.
Well, Harry, there are 2 questions that we like to ask all of the guests that come on this podcast. They're very important questions, and they mean a lot, and everyone usually has a very cool answer. So I'm going to hit you with them. But the first one is 10 years from now, what word is going to define your legacy, or what sentence is going to define your legacy and the impact that you made on the world? It doesn't have to be business related, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, like I'm doing all this stuff because I'm a dad. So, my hope is that, I've had some success with my work so far, but it's like all in service for my kids, So hopefully 10 years from now that I've got a really good relationship with them, I'm going to whatever their activities are. They're like, even though they're probably going to be moody teenagers, they'll still be somewhat on some level happy to see me at their things and stuff like that. So that's why I'm doing this thing. I mean, that more than anything else, and that includes like not doing it at the expense of my own health. And we've talked about health and fitness stuff a ton.
Yeah.
Both you guys are super fit, and it's just like, yeah. So hopefully it's that I'm doing these things in service of my family in a way that doesn't compromise kind of who I am and how I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like a lot of other stuff, but that's like, at the end of the day, that's why I'm here,
And I'm sure your wife also just likes this version of Harris better.
I think that yes, and I still have a lot of work to do. So I can always be better for sure.
Yeah.
Been with her for 16 years. I've been with her long enough. I've changed a lot, and I have a lot of work to do still.
Yep. As men, also, you can always get better. If you're not getting better, then you're not doing your duty.
Yeah. I hope this isn't the top. If this is the top, brother, that's gonna hurt in hindsight. I hope this is not the top.
Same. And the last question is, there are a ton of aspiring entrepreneurs out there. They're going to see this. We're going to post these clips on LinkedIn. They're going to see it on YouTube. What is the most important advice you could give to any aspiring entrepreneur that you wish you had when you were getting started? Given that you are on business number 7, I'm sure you have tons of advice.
Well, I think that and I've thought about this and I have listened to the other episodes. I think that like most things are more fixable than you think. So
I'm here.
If you,
I'm here. I got it, but I'm here.
Oh yeah, sure. Hold on. Okay. Let me, I'll just start. I'll start off. You guys edit this or no?
Yeah, we will.
A little bit. Yeah. Okay. I'll
just
start
a little bit. I'm back.
Okay, great. All right. So if I think about advice for someone who's wanting to start a company, I think that so when I started my business, I've been under like pretty intense financial pressure for a long time. Like I started it right before we had kids, but I also started my business like 8 months before COVID hit. And we're in a very expensive season of life. We've had to like buy and replace cars, houses, like the cash outflow is insane. So I've been under a lot of pressure, and so it has forced me to move things forward. But there were things that I like felt like weren't figure outable or that I couldn't figure out very easily. But it's like, you can figure it out later. So obviously you always want to pay your taxes in full on time, maybe even a little extra over the top. But like if you forget to do a filing, you can just file it and pay a little penalty and it's fine. Or like if you forget to, so there's certain things where I would get like anxiety about like rules, like I have to do it in this way, where you're like, well, yes, generally it's best if you do that, but also you need to keep moving forward. And anybody who started a company has had to learn some things along the way. And that's part of the process. And you might have to pay a little bit of a price for that, for your learnings. And you want to use a good attorney, you want to use a good accountant, you want to get advice from people who have done it before. But like you're going to make mistakes. There's going to be stuff you don't know, and you can't use that to like prevent you from moving forward. So if someone's like pre-starting something, that would be my advice to them of like, you're going to learn, you're going to make mistakes. That's inevitable. And if you're trying to prevent failure, you guarantee it basically, because you will never get started. And so if your goal is to get started, then you won't, and it won't happen. So that'd be my advice for someone who's like hasn't started yet.
Okay, so take some gambles, don't be afraid to fail, and tax evasion. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I can't wait to be deposed in by some IRS attorney like, hey, you forgot to pay 7 cents to the Delaware franchise.
I got a scary letter the other day in the mail from Georgia. It said I owed a substantial amount of money. I'm talking like multiple 5 figures, right? A substantial amount of money in taxes. And I called them and they're like, oh, no, that's just a mistake. Don't worry, you're good. So I went through this whole panic. I started a 3-way chat with Ali and our accountant. I was like, please help me figure this out. I'm freaking out.
Yeah, they're like, understory. Sorry, we thought this was overstory. Okay, wrong business. So sorry about that.
No, we were good. But yeah,
have a heart attack.
Out of me. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so like all this stuff is intense and it is hard and there's lots of rules and it's important to take those things seriously, but like you're not going to know everything. If you did, you'd need to have like millions of dollars in legal fees and accounting fees and every other, and not even just that, like rules about how all these things work. It's just, so that would be for someone who hasn't started. Take a chance, reasonable, calculated risk, but like you're guaranteed as soon as you try, you're going to be messing something up.
Yeah.
So there's
Don't
no way
be
to
afraid
avoid
to
that.
fail.
Yeah, exactly. Calculated risk.
Love that.
Don't sue me.
Yeah, no tax evasion. Let's not
No.
participate
I like to pay Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
I'm no Wesley Snipes.
No, we all do our part. We all pay him. Cool, Harris. Amazing having you on. Thank you for coming on, sir. I also love that spam picture in your background that you always have, and the custom Outbound Sync pillow.
Thank you.
Yeah, sick background.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it could be cautionary. It could be celebratory of spam. It's up to the viewer to interpret.
Yeah, you never know. You know, they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
That's correct. That's right. That's from the Waikiki Spam Jam. My wife got it for me. She was traveling at a conference, and she was like, "You're not going to believe what's happening across the street from our hotel. There's this annual spam event."
Spam is Hawaiian, isn't it?
Well, it's really popular there because of being on the island and everything. Yeah, right. Yeah, you're a cultural guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is an outbound event that happens in Hawaii.
So it's not Outbound. It's literally for Spam, the company, and they have this. It's called the Spam Jam. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called the Spam Jam, and so they have like a food festival, and they have like merch. They've got shirts and bags and all these. It's literally just for Spam. It's like a Spam food festival in Waikiki. Although, we talk about 10 years from now, there's like a version of this where this Outbound thing, like it goes mainstream, and I've definitely thought about like, all right, we're flying everybody out there, and we're going to the Spam Jam.
That would be so funny.
Yeah,
it'd be unreal.
The thought I think about it almost every day when I see that bag of like, if there's a version of this where this thing really goes parabolic and we really like take over and this way of growing companies really becomes the standard and all of these buddies and all these chats, everyone's doing just fine. And we say, all right, we're going to the Spam Jam.
I'd show up in Hawaii. No problem.
Totally. That's an easy sell. Yeah. Ollie's there. It's easier than showing up in San Carlos for laser tag, which is fun.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, this has been a ton of fun. I'm super pumped for the world to hear your story. There's so much more to you that we didn't even talk about too, but maybe we'll have a round two.
I mean, happy to chat with you guys any recorded, unrecorded, whatever. I mean, likewise, the story of Understory is, I think people don't understand fully.
Maybe we'll tell it one day. Day on this podcast.
You should. Yeah. I would love to hear that. I would listen in a heartbeat. Yeah, or get a little moderator on to like kind of turn the mic. I think people would be shocked. I mean, you're not just these like little viral sensation clips on LinkedIn. There's a lot more to the.
We're humans. We're humans.
Yeah.
We're real people. We have legs.
Yeah, but that was so funny on LinkedIn. You were like, the most surprising thing about Sculpt is that everyone has bodies. That was great.
I was just sitting there like, man, that's really funny. Like all these people, because the reason that came about in my mind is I met like 4 or 5 people that I thought would just be normal sized humans, and they were gigantic.
Totally.
Tyler Mounts, do you know him?
Yeah, man, the mountain.
Humongous. Huge. Justin Morgan, humongous.
Yes.
Adam Abdurrahman, huge.
And also cut, man. Oh my goodness.
That dude is just a unit. Yeah.
I know. I couldn't believe it. I gave him a hug and I was like,
you couldn't get your arms around him, don't lie.
My friend. Yeah. I got like half around. I was like, my friend, like, do you literally sleep in the gym? Like, like what?
Are you human? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Just towering. For sure. I had the same. Yeah, for sure. I had the same experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Harris,
guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yep.